ordinary attack, which is manifested on the 7 capital sins. All these attacks starts with temptation. Catechism of the Catholic Church speaks about temptation as the invitation. Temptation is not yet a sin. It is an invitation. Whether to give in to sin or to get away from sin. When there is temptation, we are being led or prone to sin, or when we fight it, we are being led to God's grace. So the ordinary attacks of the devil, number 1 is pride in the first part. What is pride? We do things for ourselves and not for God. We are never wrong. We have no faults. We think ourselves better than others. To have high opinion of oneself. Ang theme song ng mga taong proud, I did it my way. The forms of attack, superiority complex. Forms of attack in the youth, looks for faults in others, seeks to be the most popular, self-gratification, and the result, self-gratification and rebels against authority. That is pride. Next is anger. Anger, it's always accompanied by hatred. We seek revenge. We lose our good judgment. We lose peace of mind and soul. There is this what we call strong aggressive motions against others. Forms of attack on the sin of anger is selfishness and hatred, unforgiveness, violence, and it destroys friendships, relationships. Many run away from home. That's why with the questions posted a while ago, the reason why there is attack of the devil, it's because of unforgiveness of heart. Because it is all rooted in anger. Next is the sin of envy. We are saddened when others are successful. We are annoyed when others are recognized for their good work. We rebel when we do not receive the praises others do. We are glad when things go wrong for others. Always remember that the sin of envy contaminates the heart. It blinds the reasoning. It looks for defects instead of qualities. And so the results, it leads to slander and gossips and leads to hatred. Whether we like it or not, envy is the cause of so many problems of relationship, even to husband and wife. Even to the young people, the children are jealous to each other. So that leads to separation or division. So these are the ordinary attacks. What else in the 7 capital sins? The sin of lust. Here then, when we seek pleasure and impure thoughts and actions, we lose interest for spiritual things. We seek personal gratification. We do anything in order to satisfy the desires of the flesh. And so the forms of attack is in mass media, sex education, sexual freedom, leads to sexual perversion, leads to contraception, leads to abortion. And the free of all, the attack is in the internet. When we become so addicted to it, and that is lust. Gluttony. Gluttony is the reason of many of other faults. It becomes a vice when it is done excessively and obsessively. It enslaves the body and the soul. We lose moderation and decency. When there is gluttony, it attacks us through an effect of poor prayer life, weakened will. It leads to materialism. It leads to alcohol and drugs. It leads to obesity. It leads to lust. So brothers and sisters in Christ, with this ordinary attack of the devil, these are already attacked. What more with the extraordinary that we cannot control? It is beyond our control. But we need awareness. Next is sloth. Sloth, according to St. Thomas Aquinas, is a kind of sadness that we get easily bored. We are always undecided, and when it pertains to work or anything requiring effort, we hate the daily routine. We justify our inability to do things. And it attacks us by enjoying the easy, comfortable life that lacks concrete goals in life. And the results, leaves things for that last minute, loses jobs for being irresponsible. Avarice. Avarice is the belief that we are based on what we own. We seek pleasure and honor for ourselves. We give away money only to be admired. Avarice is when we love money more than God. The attack of avarice, there is this simple life is not pleasing, only interested in material things, and seeks fame, glory, and honor. And the results, money becomes God. And it leads to stealing. And whether we like it or not, all this exposition of the 7 capital sins can be a sort of an examination of conscience for all. No one is exempted with the attacks of the 7 capital sins. Even for us priests, bishops, and all religious are also prone this because we are all tao. We are prone to so many weaknesses. Remember in our catechism, all the sins started to man when there is this disobedience of Adam and Eve. And there, we lost this what we call the preternatural gifts. That man before the fall is living in immaculacy, immortality, incorruptibility, and we've lost it. That's why the body dies in a right appointed time. That we are all prone to concupiscence or weaknesses. That's why to get away with all these weaknesses and to erase our original sin, we have the sacrament of baptism. But it did not stop the attacks of sin when there are mortal sins and venial sins that we commit every day. So we need the sacrament of confession so that we can still live in the grace of God. This is the diagram. 2 parts of devil's attack. Ordinary, you have the temptation through the 7 capital sins. And letter B, the extraordinary. I heard a lot from Dr. Tracy Season, some of the terms here. But how the devil works through these attacks. Extraordinary attacks. It all starts with temptation. Again, temptation is an invitation to God's grace or to sin. But when it is a temptation to sin, in an extraordinary attack from temptation, it leads to, number 1, infestation. Have you encountered when you go to a certain place, then all of a sudden, you felt bad, or you felt something like dizzy, or you feel like vomiting, or you feel like something strange. And if you trace, and knowing the historical background of the place, you found out that place that you went is a place where they salvage people. And sometimes, you call it infested place. Or you encounter something like you went to an antique shop and you bought a sword, a samurai. Then all of a sudden, when you possess that thing, and you place and display it on the walls of your house, all of a sudden, you are keep on dreaming already. There must be an infested thing. So infestation is a manifestation of the devil in places or things. Example, if your house, you bought a house, an old house, and then it was not yet blessed, and then you slept in that house, and you experienced so many things, strange things, because that house is infested. So there is a need for a priest to bless it. Not just the regular blessing of the church, but we call it a deliverance prayer thing. Deliverance prayer. That every priest and any priest can do deliverance prayer. The second attack is oppression. Infestations on place and things. Oppression is to the person. The person is being oppressed. How come that the person is being oppressed? Example, when the person